Refugee camps are seldom cheerful places. But surely few are as remote, as bleak, and as ignored by the outside world as this one. The refugees are desert nomads from the huge West African country of Mali. 4 years ago, they fled from their homes around Timbuktu to Bassikanou in the southeast corner of neighboring Mauritania. Now, Moussa Ag Mohammed and his family are going home. There's no sense of rejoicing. They still don't want to return. But the UN High Commission for Refugees, says Moussa, has given him no choice. Moussa's reluctance is caused partly by his fear that it still isn't safe to go back. He's been assured that the civil war which caused him to flee is now over, but he's not convinced. And there's another fear too, a fear that haunts all the refugees. Will they ever be able to return to the lifestyle they once led? And if not, how will they live? The Tuareg, the blue people of the Sahara, have been desert nomads for centuries. But in Mali, only a few of them still are. The Kel Ansar clan can trace its lineage back to the armies of the Prophet Muhammad, which swept out of Arabia 1,200 years ago. Mohammet Ali is a tough, independent old patriarch. When 5 years ago, some of the Tuareg rebelled against the government of Mali, he refused to join them, and he refused to flee.
Je suis resté ici parce que c'est ça ma philosophie, je préfère rester chez moi. Il y a un proverbe de chez nous qui dit que si le feu est chaud, si c'est chaud chez vous, ailleurs c'est plus chaud encore. On dit que la vie est un combat. Et nous ne voulons pas faire un combat facile. Quel que soit justement l'âpreté de ce mode de vie, nous le continuerons jusqu'à notre mort.
But life for Mohammet Ali and his family has not always been harsh. Today he lives on a dusty plain, and his people's lives are dominated by the search for water, which lies nearly 30 meters beneath the sand. With pitifully primitive tools, his family are improving a well which has to be dug deeper every year. Yet 25 years ago, this whole area was the bed of a vast freshwater lake, 3 meters deep.
La rencontre, il y a la beauté des dunes, la beauté des collines et la beauté de l'eau. Et pour les populations, c'était des paradis terrestres.
Et qu'est-ce qui s'est passé avec le lac?
Ce qui s'est passé avec le lac, brutalement avec la grande sécheresse de 1973, les eaux se sont retirées et le lac est parti, ce qu'on n'a jamais vu. Et après, ce pays qui connaissait les grandes eaux est devenu un pays de soif. Or qu'avant, c'était les gens qui pêchaient ici, qui cultivaient, qui faisaient de l'élevage prospère, et ces gens se retrouvent avec la soif actuellement. C'est ce qui nous amène à faire ces travaux durs de forage de puits et de réfection de margelles.
Throughout the southern Sahara, wells dried up, animals died. But somehow, Mohammet Ali and his family have rebuilt their herds. and clung to their ancient, self-sufficient way of life. When they need to buy grain or stores, one of them takes a camel or a donkey cart on the 4-day journey to Timbuktu. This ancient entrepot on the edge of the Sahara has always been a meeting place of cultures and races. However dark their skin, the Moors and Tuaregs of the desert, with their hawk-nosed features, call themselves whites. The sedentary Sonrai peasants, who grow their rice and vegetables beside the Niger River, call themselves blacks. The commerce between them was usually amicable and profitable to both communities. But then, in 1984, came a second great drought. For many of the nomads of the desert, it was the last straw. This is a sight which 20 years ago would have been unthinkable. Tuareg nomads wielding hoes. Side by side with Sonrai peasants, they're preparing a field by the river Niger for rice planting. The recurring drought forced Mohammed Ali Ag Tuta, the descendant of generations of Tuareg herdsmen, to become a farmer.
أصدق دقي شكر شير أرانا هاي ناس أنت يكاد التدمود كنت يخشى دقي اللار يتتلس ردوم السلم أكنا كده زي مرة هكر ماريك أنت إذا قسم أنا هاد ضمان أنا واتيلن رسول داريا دغز ذاكلنا.
But land by the river is scarce. After years of drought, many Tuareg had neither animals to herd nor land to farm. Competition with the Sonrai peasants increased. The Moors and the Tuaregs, the so-called whites, felt that the black military government far to the south had abandoned them. In the early 1990s, some of their young men rebelled. They attacked military and civilian targets right across the north, especially black Sonrai communities. The Sonrai and the military reacted ferociously against all Moors and Tuaregs, whether or not they supported the rebels.
أنا إيش جناك على صوت تدون ريبيل تنيادونا سند أظن نقطة بيت ما قدن ما قصدتنا كلا العسكر ده موت النرسن العسكر ودي جيران درتا وين دري مواقس أنغي إن كراغي شري ده سوارا موف ما واجن عندكوي جار يشد غجري وده أنت ده وين ده جري مواقس شجعا أنغي سنتا نكادو ده قصات ولا نقطفاس نسبدار ياوي نكيتني وين ده هناك سنغاك.
Mohammed Ali Ag Tuta's story was repeated to us time and again by returned refugees. Thousands died, and tens of thousands fled across Mali's borders. Now, from Mauritania, Algeria, Burkina Faso, they're coming home. The UNHCR has brokered a peace agreement between the rebels and a new democratic government in Bamako. The peace, it claims, shows every sign of holding.
It's very evident in the people themselves, and we see it as we move around. It's peace is back in the north, and that's being guaranteed also by the authorities that we find everywhere we go in the field, and their cooperation and coordination with the population that's coming back home.
But Moussa Ag Mohammed is still mistrustful. And even if the peace does hold, he has little chance of returning to the nomadic way of life he left behind. Camped for the night in a transit center just inside Mali, he explained to me that the rebellion has left his family desperately poor.
تيهاتي إيشاضان إجري قدر سنة قدر سموريتان هذا تيم وتغديري جان ضيفات أمر هنا وضع دغ هذا دغ سان غير كاكل هذا تمي قدر موريتاني مانس هذا تمي حق دغ مانس دغ موريتاني دغ سنته أصار سنة تلسق غوات كسنة اللانت دغ بيع أجود من دلت وما رجع ورت السنة هارا قلنا سياهي دغا هارا غاسا ورغ هي هني الناس اسود تقصد ودني بانا هارا غاهي دي السجن دي ها متسهل مش انت هو شداهي تكل دجل.
What faces Moussa is a life of desperate poverty in his home village of Ber, 100 kilometers east of Timbuktu. It's a life which Faty and her brother are already living. On a patch of sand outside the village, they're trying to cultivate a market garden. It's a skill they learned in the refugee camps. But there they had plentiful water from solar-powered pumps. Here, every drop the plants consume must be pumped by hand. The returns for these orphans of the rebellion are pitiful.
أريد أن أستمر مغسنات تمر وأن الشنشان قل كيلو انتفقت نص السودة هسيس سوى الناس ما هسيت بوام بنين دغيا يشكراش نسيساس مستنا نسق في الهك النيت أبي هتد.
And all the time, more destitute refugees are returning. On the third day after leaving Mauritania, Moussa Ag Mohammed and his exhausted family arrive. They too will be trying to start a garden. They too will need health centres, schools, and above all, water. UNHCR and other aid agencies are desperately trying to match the demand for wells.
Our priority in 1996 was to have the minimum water security, that is, to have water for drinking. And then this year, we cannot ignore the fact that the people are asking for water for their agriculture projects. So we're trying to balance and trying to not promise too much, but provide at least that minimum for them to be able to begin or to continue a sector that they have already begun in the refugee camps.
With the agencies and the people stretched so thinly across this vast area, people like Mohammet Ali Ansar, who insist on staying out in the desert, find themselves last in line. If he moves to a village, he keeps getting told, and adopt a semi-sedentary way of life, it'll be so much easier to help him. But for Mohammet Ali, that would be to abandon the proud independence, which is the essence of the Tuareg way.
Chez nomade n'attend rien de quelqu'un, il mène sa vie comme vous l'avez vu. Mais si quelqu'un apprend aussi à attendre, qu'on lui apprête d'idées, on lui donne pour travailler, ça ne sera pas facile, même s'il se sédentarise.
Ils ont devenu un peu dépendants.
Oui, ils sont devenus un peu dépendants. On va amener des grains pour rien, on va amener des médicaments pour rien, on va amener du lait pour rien. Et ça change. Les enfants qui sont derrière les troupeaux, même si on est là-bas, ils vont venir s'asseoir ici, causer, et laisser les animaux pour les chacals.
Even as it is, many of Mohammet Ali's children leave for the towns when they grow up. He's philosophical about it.
Ça, la vie traditionnelle des pasteurs d'avant qui sont durs, est dure justement. Tandis que les autres, qui sont plus jeunes, ce qui les attire, c'est la vie sédentaire, la vie des villes, la vie des regroupements. Sinon, ma génération, et celle qui est avant moi encore, ceux qui vivent encore avant moi, et ceux qui nous suivent, ils sont prêts justement à suivre les modes de vie. Mais après eux, c'est les diriges. Je pense que ça va s'éteindre.
C'est la fin.
C'est la fin, après eux.
What's happening in northern Mali is mostly a good news story. Where there was war, there's now peace. A people who were once marginalized are being included and helped. The rebellion has put the Tuareg on the map. But as Mohammet Ali Kalansar well knows, nothing comes for free. The roaming life of the blue people, which they've led for 1,000 years, is almost at an end.